Do do do, theme song. Do do do, I'm broke so this is my theme song. Do do do, just imagine this is an awesome theme song. Do do, theme song. Hello, welcome to Left of the Box, Let's Talk. Bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Sandy. This is my second feel-good story that happened because of Twitter, and it also includes someone named Matt. Unexpected, but I'll take it. Before I get to that, some of my new viewers have noticed that I'm not maintaining eye contact with the camera. I know, I need a teleprompter. Earlier viewers of mine know that the only way I can give eye contact, like now, is when I've memorized the script. Yep. For your viewing enjoyment, I have memorized a 20 or so minute long monologue. You're welcome. This is because I'm broke and can't even afford a cheap teleprompter. But wait, what about your mic? I recognize that brand and it's expensive. Yeah, it's not mine. It's on extended loan to me from a friend. But what about that sign over your shoulder that's definitely professionally made? I made it and went to Staples to print it off, putting $2.75 on my credit card. It took me 3 months to pay it off. But what about your hair? It's pricey to color. This is my natural color. I've only ever dyed my hair once when I was a teenager. I dyed it black, which is 2 shades darker than what it actually is, and the only noticeable difference was it took out my natural luster. But what about the amazing makeup you use? By the way, you do a fabulous job with it. I have a makeup drawer full of expired makeup. Every time I apply it, I'm playing Russian roulette with salmonella poisoning. But you have a webcam. Yes, I paid money for this quality camera and the ring light that I have that is only useful during bright daylight. I got them on steep discount online and used the last of my savings to get them. I had to take a risk and put an investment into my channel, and I need you to take a chance with me so that I can buy the equipment needed to give you better quality videos. Please, if you can, become a Patreon. Link in the description box below. I know times are tough. If you can't, please understand. I'm doing the best with what I have. Okay, on to my story. So I joined Twitter not too long ago to help promote my channel. Most of my time on there has been positive and I've met lots of wonderful people. True, some of them might be lying about who they are and some of them might be bots, but we all might be living in a simulation, so what's to say any of this is real? Real or not, you can be exposed to ideas on social media that have a real impact on your real life. A common thing on Twitter is for people to put their preferred pronouns in their names and bios. I'm queer and I have friends from across the spectrum of sexuality and genders. If I was unsure of a person's pronoun, I would ask, and I've been asked about mine, and I've always said female. But seeing pronouns so often used on Twitter, it got me thinking, and for the first time, I questioned mine. Since my sex is female and I present as female, therefore I must be female. But when I took how I present out of the equation and focused on how I felt, oh my God, it was so obvious. It was so freaking obvious. It was like right there the entire time. I can't believe how obvious it was. I'm non-binary. For years, I've been telling people that I have masculine tendencies and I often feel more masculine than I do feminine. This is nothing I hid. And when I look back at my life, yeah, this is always who I've been. As a child, I loved watching cartoons, and it didn't matter to me if the cartoons were for girls or boys. But more often than not, I was drawn to the cartoons geared towards boys. Whenever I came home from school or camp and told my mom I had a new friend, she would ask me what his name was, because she knew my new friend was most likely a boy. I was the sole girl playing with the boys at recess and lunch break. Tag, hide and seek, 3 lives. ball game against the wall. And the boys didn't mind because I played just the same as them. They would give me extra lives or a little bit more leeway because I was a girl, but I never needed it. When a choice was given during gym class to stay indoor and play with skipping rope and balls or go outside and play handballs, all of the girls would stay indoors and I would join all the boys outdoors. Also, I wasn't picked last by the team captains. I was comfortable around the boys and felt I could relate with them more than I could so with the girls. And it wasn't just that I related to them. I was built differently. Physically, I was stronger than most of the boys in the class, but you wouldn't know it to look at me. I still had girlfriends. My best friend was a girl. Individually, I was fine with girls. But as soon as there was a group, I struggled socially and had a hard time fitting in. They didn't understand me either and thought I was weird. Junior high was particularly difficult for me. My home life was a mess. I had fallen into a deep depression and put on a lot of weight. Then on top of that, all the kids were hitting puberty and hormones were raging, so there was a natural segregation of the genders. I was no longer friends with the boys and I couldn't hang out with them the same way I used to. I still had my best friend and was able to make friends with a few other girls, but I kept mainly to myself. Every time I tried to be accepted by a group of girls, I was rejected. High school started and I was able to get in with a group of friends, mainly because my best friend was accepted into it first. That was when I noticed the kids changing from who they were to what was expected of them. They were taking on traits they thought others would like, even doing things they didn't want to do. Seeing all of this around me, it was then, in grade 9, I said these words to myself. I would rather be alone and miserable for the rest of my life than to conform and be something I'm not just to fit in. So I've been alone and miserable for most of my life. I didn't realize it at the time, but being outside the binary genders, I easily observed how societal pressures were hurting them. Girls began competing for boys, their self-worth relying on if boys liked them, which led to gossiping and backstabbing. But for the boys, I remember once in a gym class outdoors, I looked over at what the boys were doing. They were standing in a circle and they were all holding a lacrosse stick. One by one, they had to hold the stick out at both ends and jump over it without letting go. If they fell or couldn't do it, they were laughed at and mocked. Even back then, I knew these kinds of ordeals boys were put through was causing lasting harm to some of them. Kids who weren't fitting into the heteronormative gender roles became noticed and were severely teased because of it. But there was an imbalance. If they were a boy expressing feminine characteristics, they were seen as weaker, less than, and a target for bullying. Whereas if a girl expressed masculine characteristics, she was seen as stronger and even complimented for them, only if she still looked feminine. If she looked masculine, then she was also a target for harassment. I was lucky and developed a very feminine body. And I like to express my femininity with my clothing, jewelry, and makeup. I loved sparkly and shiny. I still do. So I was never bullied for being masculine. Well, to be fair, the other kids were afraid to start something with me because they knew I wouldn't hit like a girl. It bothers me to no end how being referred to as feminine is often used as an insult, while being referred to as masculine is a compliment. Phrases like grow a pair, or since she's strong, she must have balls, or a weak man has lost his, or accusing women and men of being on their period if they're moody, and implying that the lack of male genitalia makes you weaker in general. Being masculine or feminine, regardless of your gender, doesn't dictate what you're capable of. Personality characteristics are not tied to a person's anatomy. When it came to sexuality, if a boy was gay, he had to be over the top flamboyant and fun to be around to be accepted by a good chunk of his classmates. Or he had to hide it. I don't recall any girls being out as gay and no one out as trans. My family had moved away from my stepfather, so I didn't have to worry about hiding who I was. I remembered telling my mom that I was very much into boys, but I hadn't ruled out dating girls, and her reaction was to say, "Okay." I didn't feel the need to tell my friends and add to their gossiping unless I met a girl I liked, and I knew they would freak out thinking I was interested in one of them. No, nuh-uh, there was no risk of that. I know how extremely fortunate I am. I feel like I never had to come out of the closet because I was never in it. The term I've been using for my sexuality is heteroflexible. I'm sexually attracted to men and seek them out for relationships, but if I meet someone of another gender and we hit it off emotionally, I'm open to having a relationship with them. Boys joined the group of friends I was with, and that was when another thing happened that, in my adult years looking back, was okay, I see it, I get it, that makes sense now moment. I developed a crush on 2 boys at the same time. Yep, turns out I'm polyamorous. My ex-girlfriend had a husband and he had a girlfriend, and the 4 of us could go out to dinner or stay in for a movie and all was good. In the comment section below, let me know if you're interested and I can talk about polyamory in future videos. I wanted to have a boyfriend in high school, but didn't even have a single date. Unlike a lot of my girlfriends, I wasn't going to get into a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship, and the boys just weren't interested in me. I was intimidating. The boys had put on more muscle during puberty, so I wasn't stronger than most of them anymore, but I was still stronger than a lot of them, and I came across as confident and not willing to put up with BS. That was a defense mechanism. Truthfully, confidence is something I still struggle with, and I put up with toxic levels of BS before I got the help I needed. In my later years of high school, I fell in with a different group of friends outside of school. By that time, most people had coupled off and were more relaxed around the opposite gender. I became better friends with the guys of the group than I did with the girls, and I felt more comfortable with myself. My humor appeals more to males than it does to females, and they liked having me around because I was super chill. I'd give it to them straight, and I could dish back any banter they threw my way. This was also the start of an issue that has plagued me for my entire life. Because I got along so well with the guys, 4 of the girls thought their boyfriends were going to leave them for me. Okay, well, one of the guys thought his girlfriend was going to leave him for me as well. I had a rough start to my adult life. I was isolated from people far more than I have been during COVID. So when I got back out into the world, I was socially awkward and had to learn how to build friendships. Through jobs and community organizations, I met a lot of people and my male tendencies would bubble up. In a class I took, I became friendly with a female classmate. A man in that class liked to playfully flirt with her, often with misogynistic undertones. Now, I say playfully because she engaged with him and she told me she was having fun. I also took the guy to be good-natured. He would have backed off if she gave any indication she wasn't into it. But I could see how he could easily, unintentionally cross a line. So, I threw the misogyny back at him, playfully, of course, to demonstrate how he can make a woman feel uncomfortable. By the time I was done with him, he got it. I got involved with improv and loved it. There I could express male and female characters equally, and I was really good at playing men. It felt like I didn't even need to try, it just came to me naturally. I made a bunch of friends from that group, and of course I was drawn to the men for those friendships. In my adult life, most of my close friends have been men. The start of these friendships are often awkward. Once at a party, I was having a fantastic side conversation with a man. So I asked him if he would like to meet up later on to continue our chat, my intentions being friendly. He rolled his eyes at me, thinking I was asking him out. I said rolled his eyes at me. A lot of men have been put off at the thought of me being attracted to them. And with men I have been interested in for relationships or hookups, I've had to make the first move 99% of the time. And 99% of the time, I've been rejected. I hear men say they want women to make the first move. No, you do not. You go into a state of shock, or you think I'm planning on stealing your kidney, or that I'm just looking for a sperm donor, or you outright think I'm joking. And every time I hear a man say, I think you're attractive. I mean, I'm not attracted to you, but I could definitely see how somebody else could be. He's put on my no-fly list, and should he ever change his mind, it'll be a hard no. And I have a woman's memory for that sort of thing. Some of the men I've developed friendships with had wives, and that sometimes made things difficult because my friendships with men mirrors what friendships between women look like. If I'm friends with a woman, we talk about our lives, share how we're feeling, give advice, encourage and compliment each other, talk about relationships, and turn to each other for support. And her husband thinks nothing of it. Now replace her with him, and the dynamic completely changes. The thing is, while I act this way towards them, my male friends often just like hanging out with me because they like my humor and we have great conversations. And while they do share about themselves and their lives, it's nowhere near to the same extent as a woman does. We enjoy each other's company and are strictly friends, and there's no interest from either side of taking it further. I in no way replace any part of their relationships with their wives. However, I've had friendships fizzle out because their wives weren't comfortable with me. This has also been an issue with men I have simply been friendly with. If we're in the same social group, even if I'm not keen on a guy, I'll still try to be friendly towards him. But since I'm a single woman who talks to him, their wives see me as a threat. This bugs me for so many reasons. For one, I have standards. Most of these men aren't even close to being my type. And the thought that I'm some predatory woman out to steal a husband away, because apparently high school never ended for some people. If I wanted to steal a husband and was capable of doing it, then why have I been single for most of my life? Also, let's look at my track record. The amount of men that have left their wives for me, 0. The amount of relationships I have broken up or have attempted to break up, 0. If I care about a man, I want him to be happy and would only ever question his relationship if I thought someone was being harmed, which has never been the case. And if I don't care about him, then why the hell would I be trying to steal him? The implication that I have no morals or don't respect boundaries or would want a man who cheats is quite honestly insulting. I'll repeat, I will not pursue a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship. And still, every time I show interest in a man, married or not, and give him attention or compliments, the assumption is I'm trying to get into his pants or wallet. I am not attracted to or trying to date every man I talk to. And yeah, I'll say it. I'd rather be broke and destitute for the rest of my life than rely on a man to pay for all my expenses. Currently, I have an even split of men, women, and other folks for friends, and I'd like to have more friends. Who wouldn't? But so long as I present as female and am drawn to men for friendships, I imagine this issue isn't going to go away. Another common thread in my life are generalizations about women that don't reflect who I am. Things like a woman will cross her legs and try to take up less space when around others. Me? Nope. Women have a hard time speaking up for themselves in the workplace. Me? Not a problem. Women often don't initiate sex. Me? Not an issue. The rejections more so. Women are uncomfortable in a room full of men. Me? Actually, I'm more comfortable there than I would be in a room full of women. One specific example that has stuck with me was when I was trying to get involved with politics. Female politicians would say, "You have to ask a woman at least 3 times before she'll consider running for office." This was repeated in political workshops geared towards women. There is this one woman in one of these workshops who was upset because no one had read her mind and asked her yet. No one asked me. I chose to step up because I felt that was the best way I could help make a difference. But when you're a woman who volunteers for leadership without being asked, other women question your motives. And part of the problem with politics is the politics. I am still not able to break into cliques of women, and in order to run for office, it's those cliques you need the support of. Another area I've noticed a difference between myself and women is I don't fear men the same way a lot of them do. I had a coworker whose husband was going to be away from home for a week due to work, and she was anxious about all the what ifs. Someone might choose that specific week to break in and he wouldn't be around to defend her. I accidentally said out loud, "I've seen your husband. He isn't preventing squat." I'm aware of the potential threat men pose. The greatest harm I've endured from other people has been from men. But I don't live in fear of the what ifs, and I don't assume every strange man is out to get me. This leads into another issue I've had in my life. People see me in the binary of a woman who is strong, independent, and doesn't need a man to protect me. And for the most part, that's the case, and I'm fine. But there are times when I want nothing more than to have someone stronger than me wrap his arms around me and make me feel safe, desired. Let me know I'm not alone, and allow me a moment of not having to worry about this world. I've never had that. With everything I've said so far, I don't want people to get the feeling that I'm ashamed of my feminine side or I somehow think it's less than. It's not. I have a beautiful mix within me. I love unicorns and I love dinosaurs. I like wearing colorful skirts, painting my nails, scented candles. My movie collection consists of mostly action movies like Fast and the Furious, Transformers, Mission Impossible, and all the superhero movies. I mean, like, all of them. Even Green Lantern. I have no problems expressing my vulnerability, and I'm not afraid to stand strong. I am nurturing, compassionate, patient, and I am fearless, bold, and direct. I value and appreciate my feminine side as much as I do my masculine. For those of you wondering what my preferred pronouns are, sure, female is fine for consistency's sake, but to me they're interchangeable. In essence, you can't misgender me. Whatever suits the mood. She, her, he, him, they, them, all fine. My preferences might change in the future, and if so, I'll let you know. If you want to call me bro, cool. Lady, cool. Gentleman, cool. Gal, actually that one's kind of stupid. Sir, actually, that one's kind of nice. Sir is nice. I like that one. I am still probably often going to refer to myself as a woman because when I walk into a room, the assumption is I'm a woman, and that's fine. Also, the lens through which society views me and my experiences have been mainly of people treating me as a woman. And of course, where we bump heads is when I don't respond the way they think a woman should. To wrap all of this up, I didn't wake up one morning and think to myself, I want to be non-binary. I've always been non-binary. I just finally figured it out. I didn't think it would change me, but the more I say it, the more confident and uninhibited I feel. It's like there's been a resistance all my life, a sense that I was settling on something I knew wasn't quite right. I was never ashamed of my masculine side and acknowledged it. The difference is now I'm embracing it and I won't hold back expressing it. I don't feel like this is a coming out moment because had I realized this sooner, I would have accepted it. And ever since it's clicked inside of me, I've had no doubt this is who I am. There is no conflict within me and I don't feel vulnerable talking about this. So, why am I talking about this? I was chatting with Bev as to whether or not I should make this video. Part of me feels like this is no big deal and it would confuse people since I present as female and female pronouns are fine, so does it even make a difference to others? And part of me felt like it would be exploitative, like I was using this to get clicks, and who really cares about my story anyway? The issues I've had to deal with in regards to my gender are so minor compared to other people. Would this video be worth making? So this next part is going to sound like a non sequitur, but it's not. Bear with me. Ever since I started my channel and have been on Twitter, I've discovered other wonderful Canadian content creators, one of them being Thought Slime, or Matt. If you haven't come across him yet, please go subscribe to his channel. If you like my humor, you'll probably like his. He's funnier than me 50% of the time, and he gives amazing, in-depth analysis of the issues. His videos are fantastic. Since I'm new to his channel, I've been binge watching his videos. Right after that conversation I had with Bev, I finished watching the Thought Slime video I was halfway through. The very next video queued up was one called We Don't Talk About She-Ra. Link in the description box below. In that video, Matt came out as non-binary. He showed his vulnerability and talked about how he had to hide his feminine characteristics in fear of being bullied or attacked. He had painful experiences and said that when people force their binary on others, it can open old wounds or cause them to go further into hiding and feel ashamed of who they are to the point that it can be life-threatening. He said that by telling our stories, it helps people to better understand each other and lets people know they're not alone with how they feel. So that settled it, and here I am. This is my story, but it's not about me. I might not think this is a big deal, but to others it is. I'm telling my story now because if even one person hears this and understands themselves a bit better or feels more comfortable with who they are, then this video was worth making. This is my normal, and I'm not ashamed of who I am. Everyone has the right to express themselves the way they want without fear. Society doesn't get to determine who you are. If you're watching this and see a bit of yourself in me, I want to let you know you've never been alone. And if you're currently in a painful situation, you need to know your right now isn't your forever. In the comment section below, I've linked to resources if you need to reach out to someone to talk or for help. Thank you, Matt, for inspiring me to speak up. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe button, unless you've already hit the subscribe button, because if you hit it again, you unsubscribe, and that defeats the purpose of me asking you to subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter, where good things are possible, and share my videos. And Patreon. Don't forget about Patreon. I'd love to be making enough money someday so I can afford a healthy diet and get me a trainer so I can, get me some muscle. Salut, à la prochaine. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm Sandy, wishing your tomorrow is better than your today.